Hello and welcome to today's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. There's two main hazards that we're looking at here over the next 5 days. One is some strong trade winds and associated rough seas, mainly over the central Caribbean. And a second is an area of some rough seas off to the east of the Lesser Antilles. Good news in the forecast is that the tropical weather outlook shows that tropical cyclone activity is not expected over the next 7 days. We are looking at quiet conditions in the tropics, and that means aside from those two areas of hazards, the rest of our basin will see quiet conditions for the next several days. Taking a look at the current conditions, you'll see a high pressure located near Bermuda. This high pressure will be dominating most of our waters in the Atlantic, across northern waters, as well as waters across the Gulf. That's going to be creating quiet conditions throughout the period. You can also see our two hazards on this map. Trade winds over the central Caribbean as some tropical waves pass through. Producing some strong trade winds over the central Caribbean with some seas of 8 to about 11 feet. And then a little farther to the east of the Lesser Antilles, especially east of the Windward Islands, we'll have some 8 to 10 foot seas there. As we move into tomorrow's map, not a lot of change, and not a lot of change will be the theme here as we go through these series of maps, with the high pressure remaining anchored off to the east of Bermuda, these tropical waves gradually pushing off to the west, trade winds continuing to be strong across the central Caribbean, with those rough seas in the same general area of those strong trade winds, and off to the east of the Windward Islands. By Saturday, fresh to strong trades across the central Caribbean, especially off the coast of Colombia, with the higher seas in the same general area, as well as to the east of the Windward Islands, continuing to about 45 west. By Sunday, one of the tropical waves begins to push into the western Caribbean, and that'll take some of these stronger trade winds and begin to shift them a little bit to the west on the backside of this tropical wave. So areas south of Jamaica will also begin to experience some of the stronger trade winds, and those 8 to 11 foot seas will also shift a bit to the west. Seas will remain elevated to the east of the Lesser Antilles, with seas of about 8 to 10 feet, slightly less on Sunday than they were a previous day. By Monday, we stop displaying the features, but the tropical wave will begin to approach portions of Central America, and those strong trade winds will be enhanced back behind that wave and really begin to shift into the western and even northwestern Caribbean. And those seas of 8 to 10 feet and some 11-foot seas will push as well toward the northwestern Caribbean, with still some 8-foot seas or so off to the east of the islands, but seas not quite as high as they have been. Finally, we'll take a look at Tuesday. By Tuesday, the main tropical wave will be approaching the Yucatan, and so the strongest winds will now be in the northwest Caribbean and in the Gulf of Honduras. Highest seas there as well, with some rough seas as well extending back to the southeast towards the south central Caribbean. But in summary, not a lot of change through the next 5 days, with in general 20 to 30 knot easterly trade winds and associated rough seas across the central Caribbean, gradually spreading west toward the western and northwestern Caribbean and the Gulf of Honduras by next week. The rough seas between the Lesser Antilles extending to about 45 west. Those will continue, though gradually subsiding into early next week. And perhaps most importantly, no tropical formation is anticipated over the next 7 days. Thanks for listening to today's briefing. Our next briefing will be out to you this upcoming Sunday, June 15th, before 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.